It's never been easier to get on the water with Academy Sports and Outdoors. Stop by your local Academy store or online at academy.com today and shop great gear from fishing's top brands like Luz, Zebco, Abu Garcia, Shimano, and more.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Fisherman's Post Saltwater Podcast series. This episode is titled Big Spanish on Dead Bait. And I'm going to be talking to both Big Nic of Big Nic Fishing and Captain Vaughn Hall of American Boat Charters out of the Wrightsville Beach area. And we are going to be covering such areas as a standard spread and then switching over to a dead bait spread. We're going to show you how to rig a cigar minnow on a Mack-A-Hoo, and then we're going to show you how to tie that Mack-A-Hoo rig, how to make that Mack-A-Hoo rig. So we got a lot to cover in this episode. My name is Gary Hurley of Fisherman's Post. Fisherman's Post has been serving the saltwater fishing community of North Carolina since 2003. We've been bringing you fishing reports, fishing information, fishing tournaments, fishing schools, and now here in our latest and greatest chapter, the Fisherman's Post Saltwater Podcast series. And it is in this series that we reach out to our captain and guide friends from up and down the North Carolina coast and ask them to share with us their insights, their knowledge to help you catch more fish more often. And beyond more fish more often, we just want you to grab, we want to give you confidence, we want to get you excited so that you grab family and friends and spend more time on the water more often. I'm joined in this episode, just as I am in every episode of the Saltwater Podcast series. I'm joined by Billy Thorpe of Copilot Studios. Copilot Studios, a podcast studio offering podcast services for hire. Billy Thorpe, here we are.
Here we are, Gary. How's it going, man?
It's going good.
I'm excited about this episode. It's going to be a good one.
You should be. You got to hold on. We might need a lot of production help.
Yeah, I'm in.
These guys, I
don't
know where the conversation is going to go.
Wrangling cats.
Wrangling cats.
Pre-show was amazing, so I can't wait for the episode.
Oh yeah,
so much fun. Oh man, and I don't even know where to start, but I am a big fan of Big Nic's products, so excited to hear more about them and hear more about what these guys got going on. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, man. Trolling dead bait is easy. You know, once they show you how, and it definitely can up your size of Spanish, up your Spanish game.
Yeah. Absolutely. And to do that, you need a boat, so make sure you go check out Marine Warehouse Center. I got a quick word from those guys, and we'll be right back.
Hey, it's Robbie with Marine Warehouse Center in Wilmington and Charleston. We are headquarters for Repair Custom Boats. These center consoles are handmade in Washington, North Carolina, and are custom designed for fishing and family fun on the water. Right now, we have several models in stock, and build times on the custom orders are around 5 months. These boats are custom built to fit your needs, from the seating, the tops, the leaning posts, and the live wells. You design the entire layout of your boat. Come by and see for yourself why they're one of the fastest growing boat builders in the country.
Right, man. Good looking boat. You go customize it. I love customization.
Right?
And you're still obsessed with the music, even this week.
I am still focused on that.
Love it, dude.
I like the camera angles too, man. I like their production quality, man. They're a real deal. Marine Warehouse, real deal. And I find myself looking at that and going, man, Terrell is part of this new wave of boat dealership, but yet, man, like for instance, I went over there. He offered me a cup of hot tea. He said, here, you can drink it like me. Just no sugar, just a little lemon. Here's some hot tea, no sugar, little lemon. I'm like, Terrell, will you tell me a joke and let me get out of here? And he's like, oh, I got just the joke for you. So you ready for Terrell's joke? Not my joke, Terrell's joke. What is the first lesson that fish learn at school?
I don't know. You got me.
The end of a hook is the point of no return. I agree.
That's true. True statement.
I agree with your lack of laughter.
Unless you're a flounder in certain times of the year. Then you got to pass.
Then you get to go back.
You get to go back until later. Oh, my goodness, man. Too much fun. Let me show you a fish picture, Gary. What do you think?
I want a fish picture.
Here we go. We got Blake, Reagan, Haley, and Jacob caught these Spanish mackerel and albacore on gold spoons while fishing the Moorhead area. There you go, man. Look at those fish looking good and starting those kids out young.
Yeah, man. Spanish fishing. I got my kids Spanish fishing. It's the intro to offshore trolling as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, man. And you guys do a tournament every year, which is awesome.
We do a tournament every year, mid-June, fish it as tradition, get the kids involved, again, and, they just get used to putting lines out, bringing them in, all of it. It's fun.
And you love it because you sit up front and talk to the captain, and your kids reel in all the fish, and you can just get to do your thing.
Run my mouth.
I get to just suntan while my kids
I get to heckle my kids, which is a joy of many a father, right?
Right. Yeah. I can't wait till my guy's old enough where I can take him out on our nothing. Maybe we'll have a paddleboard by then.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Unless people want to buy me enough coffee, and then maybe I'll have enough to buy my kid a boat. This should be buy my kid a boat or college education.
Tell me more.
So buymeacoffee.com/fisherman's post. This is a place they've created. They, as in Buy Me a Coffee Company, has created so you can support content creators, podcasters, all that kind of stuff. So we set up an account, and people have been, they've been generous. They've been buying us coffees and making show recommendations and just really telling us, get good feedback. We get more feedback on there than anywhere else, really.
We're thankful for every cup. Yeah. We reply to everyone that is generous enough to do that. And we've thrown this out there before, and we'll say it again, with that cup of coffee or 2 or 3, whatever it is, give us some ideas, give us some feedback, give us some topic suggestions, some guest suggestions. We read it all. We digest it all.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I'm going to let you get to talking fishing with these guys.
All right. Well, listen, when I'm done talking with these guys, and I don't know why I'm smiling.
Because it's going to be fun.
When I'm done talking to these guys, I'm coming to you for Billy's best takeaway.
I'm ready. I'm going to have plenty of them. Take it away, Gary.
All right. So I would like to, at this time, welcome to the show. My pleasure to welcome to the show Big Nic of Big Nic Fishing, Captain Vaughn Hall of American Boat Charters. You guys, welcome to the show. Let's talk about trolling for Big Spanish, trolling dead bait for Big Spanish.
Great. You want to go? You want me to?
Right ahead, Vaughn.
Okay. Nope. I'm just introducing you. Man, don't you start on my blooper reel yet. We got plenty of time for bloopers. Right now, I'm just introducing you.
Okay.
So we're going to talk, as part of me setting this episode up, like we're going to talk about a standard spread, with just planers and spoons. Then we're going to switch over to a dead bait spread, talk about the rigging of Cigar Minnow on a Mack-A-Hoo, talking about making a rigging of Mack-A-Hoo, tying up a Mack-A-Hoo. But before that, as is tradition on the show, we have 2 questions. Are you guys ready for the 2-question period of this show?
I don't know, but we'll try it.
After last week, I'm not sure.
All right. So the first question, and I'd like for both of you to take a stab at this. Why should we listen to what you have to say about a Spanish mackerel?
Take it over, Vaughn.
I have no answer for that, man. I'm like Rodney Dangerfield, man. I get no respect. So, you know what? I would just go with the. We've caught a few of them. How about that throughout our lifetime? So.
I would just say a picture speaks 1,000 words.
Yeah.
Everyone that follows me sees daily my pictures, tens of thousands of pictures from people around the world and everywhere. So pretty much a picture speaks 1,000 words.
All right. I think I follow that answer. And now I'm going to go to question number 2, which, as is tradition, is a non-fishing related question. Then we get to the main event. Are you ready for question number 2? All right. I need both of you to answer this. I need you to go back and forth. I need each of you to give me 3 words that rhyme with Nick.
Prick.
Sick.
Big.
All right, that's 3.
Chick.
Right?
That's 4, but.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Man, you guys did great. I mean, I am filled with confidence moving forward, and so is the audience, so are the viewers and the listeners. So, to get back to the main event where we're going to talk about trolling for Big Spanish, again, the scenario that we set up is we don't know there's Big Spanish out there yet. So, Vaughn, you're out there on a typical day where you're leaving out of Masonboro Inlet with the intention of doing just a standard troll, some planers and some spoons is what I'm guessing at. So set us up, man. Set up the listeners. Tell them what you do when you're doing the traditional approach.
Okay. Mainly when I'm pulling out of the inlet, I'm looking for the normal signs, the birds, the bait, I'm looking for actually the Spanish. They'll pop out of the water here and there, and any kind of activity, I'm looking for it. And also, when you get out there, I'm just I'm putting my spread out as soon as I get past the inlet, and I'm free away from the other boats. I will go ahead and start putting my spread out.
So, are you a fan of Liberty Ship? Are you a fan of moving up and down the coast? Are you a fan of staying right around the inlet mouth? I mean, I know you'll go where the fish are, but where are you wanting to start?
Well, yeah, no, the Liberty Ship. Once in a while, I'll go up that way if there's not too many boats. But anyway, my customers, they like to know it. They like to see it on the sonar, and so I'll show it to them. And I'll let them know. I said, there's a lot of boat traffic here. I'm not sure if we'll get anything, but it's worth a shot. And then we're going to venture out, maybe up north or south, and try and get away from the other boats. And just take our time and keep our noses clean, so to speak, and look for the smell as well. If we don't see bait, we're looking for it on our sonar as well. We're just looking for any sign of activity.
And what is the spread that you have out behind the boat?
Well, I'll run a planer. Well, first of all, I'm going to run something. I'm going to run the mackerel tree way out. I'm going to put the rod in my T-top. I'm a short guy, so I'm going to put it on the back side of my my leaning post, and I'm gonna let that bird go. If there's no boats around, I'm gonna count to about 60, 75. I'm gonna count in 1 second intervals. I'm just gonna let it go. And then my medium spread, I'm gonna bring that in. That's gonna be like my planer. I'm gonna run that. It all depends on if I'm running planers or deep divers. I'm going to run that one. I'm going to cut that number in half. I'm going to count back to about 50 or so. And that's going to be on my starboard side. That's always on my starboard. My short line, I'm going to run it back on my port side, which is the right side of the boat, for those that don't know. I'm going to count back to 25 seconds and just let it go and just wait for the bite. And I'm going to watch my RPMs on my boat going with certain currents. 1100 RPM seems to be the ticket.
So I love specifics. So are we talking about, I want you to give me a little bit more on that spread, as in size of planer, size of spoon, size, length of leader, and, any color variations.
Okay. Yes. Someday, I'm going to run different colors on each side because I believe that colors do matter on certain days, because I've seen it where they'll hit just one certain color. I'm running like a number 2 planer, and usually a number 1 or number 2. And I'm my leader is gonna be 30 to 50 feet long, and I run that. I just run regular fluorocarbon fishing line. I can't. If you just buy the leader material to run that, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. That's very expensive. And I believe you can get away with mono as well, because those fish are chasing it a lot of times. And
yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. And then on the other side there, well, if I'm running my deep diver, I'm just running a Yuzuri or a Rapala. I'm finding that I'm having better success with one or the other. It all depends on what comes out of the pack, and if I have to fine tune something. Then if it's going going from side to side, then it lets me know I need to tune it up a little bit, and I hate doing that. But here lately, I'm getting the Rapalas out of the package, and I'm not having to adjust them. So I'm kind of sticking to those for the time being until they change up.
And so 1100 RPMs on your boat would be roughly what for those of us that are just going to look at MPH on our GPS?
Gotcha. We're probably looking at about 6 miles an hour, 5 to 6 miles an hour. It's not set up for nautical. It should be, but it's just set up for 5, 6. It all depends on if I'm going against the current or with the current, as to what my speed is.
And then I guess I'm also curious about, as you're making your way, I guess we're working some water depth or we're working some coastline. Are you a zigzagger? Are you a straight liner? What's the approach that you found is the most productive?
Well, actually, I'll do the zigzag thing. But it's not sharp on the zigzags. It's just moving in the motion. I'm trying to find the depth, trying to find out where they're located. And the whole time I'm doing this, I'm watching my sonar. I've got it on side scan, and that's like 350 feet, of coverage down there. And if I find the bait, then I'm gonna try and circle back and get to that. It's pretty simple. It's Spanish fishing, 101 trolling. I believe anybody can do it. And I encourage them, and they're doing great. But watching these videos, I hope that they can pick something up that what we're telling them will help them. And they're more than happy to take a phone call too. So,
all right.
Talk about.
Man, they'll appreciate that. Man, I love when the captains make themselves available. Mm-hmm. So in our sort of pregame show, in our setup, then what we decided was, after we covered the basic troll, we wanted to put the majority of this episode on trolling dead bait for bigger Spanish. So you're out there, you got either some deep divers out or you got some spoons and planers out, and then you hear or see some king mackerel in the area, you hear or see some bigger Spanish in the area, you want to adjust the spread. So right. I guess basically doing the same thing we just did with the standard spread. Now walk me through what a typical dead bait spread is, for targeting the bigger Spanish when you feel like dead bait is the answer.
I got you. Well, usually when you're in that kind of situation too, you can actually smell the bait a lot of times. That's when there's been a carnage taking place under the water, to describe the smell, to me, it's like an old olive oil that's been cooked. Everybody else has a different smell description for that, but that's just mine. But anyway, as soon as we find that, especially when we find that we smell that, I'm going to switch over to trolling Mack-A-Hoos, and that's I just run 2 rods on that one.
Okay, so nothing long, no mackerel tree, just the 2 deadbait rigs.
Just on my boat, I've got a 21 foot. I don't need the hassle of 3 of them going off. Spanish we can handle, and blues, things of that nature. But when you get kings in there, and they're even snake kings, they're going to go. It's going to be a Chinese fire drill as soon as we get them on, especially for people that's never fished before. So I want to make this a very enjoyable spirit, for the family and for everybody that's on the boat. I just want them to have fun, enjoy it, and teach them not to. The biggest problem I have is they get excited and they want to tighten the drag up. And but with these Mack-A-Hoos here, it's best to have a light drag, 3 to 5 pounds, because you are running treble hooks, and it's you don't know how that fish is hooked until you actually get him in, to it where you can gaff him or pick him up by the tail. It all depends if you're going to harvest him or not.
So if you're pulling 2, and, we're going to get to Nick, and he's going to go into more detail on the specifics of the Mack-A-Hoo, but if you're pulling 2 deadbait rigs on Mack-A-Hoos, how far back are each of them, and what are you tying to the rig? Is it going right to the mono on the right to your mono? Is there anything in between? I just want to be able to better picture what we're talking about.
Right, exactly. What I do with the Mack-A-Hoos, and we've been pretty successful with these, is I will just tie them straight to my mono. They come with the wire with the barrel swivel. You just tie it straight to it, and you can use whatever knot you're most comfortable with, and you just troll it out. I put it, but on those, I put it in my gunnel, say on my starboard. I'm going to let that one out first because that's my longest one. And like I said, I do the count method. It's kind of hard for me to judge distance a lot of times, and so what I'll do is I will count. Maybe I'll count like to 30 seconds, 40 seconds. let that one go back, take my time, but keep that same count cadence for my port side as well. And but I will cut it in half when I'm doing that one. And watch my speed. Sometimes I will adjust the speed, because when you slow down, of course, the bait's going to go slower to the bottom. But yeah, otherwise I'm running mine on average between 4 and 5 miles per hour. And I know a lot of people run them faster, and that's fine. But for me, my boat, that seems to work best.
Is the 4 to 5 mile per hour zone for the dead bait?
Well, yes, yeah. If you're fishing like in 50 feet of water or less, they I've always heard 60 feet, that's king water. But a lot of times we get these kings right off the beach while we're trolling for Spanish, and usually they hit my long line. When I'm, like I said, we're going for Spanish. But when I smell bait, that's when I want to switch over and go to, the Mack-A-Hoos. And
all right. I'm going to bring soon here. I'm going to bring Nic on, but I want one more follow up, because again, you touched on it when we were sort of getting set up for the show. I just want to make sure we get it in, because I'm not sure where we're going once we talk about rigs with Nic.
Right.
You've got a certain technique you like as far as like caring for any Spanish you decide to harvest. Could you tell me more about that?
Yeah. Yes, I was raised, if you're going to eat it, harvest it the correct way. It doesn't matter if you're hunting, fishing, whatever. For fish, especially saltwater fish, and that's pretty much all I've ever done. What I like to do when we get a fish in, and my customers, they want to take meat home and they're going to eat it. What we'll do as soon as we get it in, we try not to handle it as much as possible. We'll go ahead and dehook it and put it in our cooler. And on all my trips, we always have plenty of ice. And I'll take out my ice and I'll take it out of the bag. And as soon as I do, I've got a gallon bucket. I will reach in there and get some salt water out of the live well and pour it into the cooler and let that make a slushy. What I want to do is have enough slushy in there where that fish is completely submerged. And then when you get back to the dock, that fish is nice cold. And it's the most humane way to harvest a fish as well. So that's the way we do it. That's the way I was trained, and it stuck with me since the 60s. So.
All right. Hey, Nic, before we go right into the cigar minnow, showing me how to put a cigar minnow on a Mack-A-Hoo. I mean, I know you spend a lot of time out on the water as well, a lot of times with Vaughn out on the water. And while Vaughn was sharing the information, anything you want to add to the approach to pulling the dead bait before we get into the specific of how to rig a cigar minnow?
Yeah, a lot of people that tournament fish, they use live bait, and they're also using the Mack-A-Hoos in their spread. What people don't realize is you control them anywhere from what I would say live bait speed from like 1.5 all the way up to 8 miles an hour. I've actually caught my biggest kings about 7 miles an hour. But for me, it just seems like the sweet spot for the kingfish, I catch more, seems to be about 5.5, 6 miles an hour. And I'll run them on both corners, and then I'll have 2 in the gunnels on flat lines. Like I said, at 5.5, 6 mile an hour for king mackerel, it seems to be the sweet spot for me.
What about big Spanish?
Faster. Spanish usually about 6.5, 7 miles an hour. Run them back, long lines, 2 out the corner, 1 in the middle if you got a small boat like I do right now with a 23. But yeah, Spanish, you're gonna have to go a little faster. Cigars, 6.5 mile an hour. And the problem that most people that are new to fishing with the Mack-A-Hoo is I can just like basically show you it has the lock-in mechanism. What happens is they'll put it sideways or upside down, and the bait's gonna spin. And if that's what's happening, they're not gonna catch any fish. So if they're given the right information and they're running it at 6.5 miles an hour, they're going to catch fish. That would just be my first and foremost. Spanish mackerel, 6.5 mile an hour. King mackerel, anywhere an hour. It just all depends. If you're running live bait, you want to do it slow. But like I said, if I'm typically fishing for kings, even when I fish king tournaments in Florida, all we're using is Mack-A-Hoos, and we're running 5.5, 6 mile an hour with a 6 spread.
And if I'm pushing it back to Spanish mackerel, if you're fishing a Spanish mackerel tournament or you're just geared up for big Spanish, I think I followed you. You're more of in line with 4 lines? All right. Hey, look. So what I think I'm hearing is that you do it a little bit different than maybe a charter approach where you just have 2 lines out, or with the dead bait. So Nick, if you're in a Spanish mackerel tournament, or let's just say you have a mind to really target big Spanish that day, did I hear you say you're pulling 4 lines, or are you still just pulling 2 lines?
No, I would pull 4 for sure, and I would be going to the spots where I've caught them in the past, the wrecks, the live bottoms, the reefs, everything, and I would be pulling 4, and I'd be running strictly just Mack-A-Hoos, 4 lines, 6.5 mile an hour, pretty much from the time the tournament starts till it ends.
Would you have cigar minnows on all 4 lines?
Yes, sir, with the Mack-A-Hoos, completely, 100%.
So we're going to talk cigar minnows, and I'm already following that cigar minnows are the sweetie as far as Mack-A-Hoos go. Is anyone putting anything else on a Mack-A-Hoo successfully?
Yes, ballyhoos right now, because everybody knows that cigar minnows is kind of hard to come by, and they're usually really soft, and they fall apart. And right now, the demand for them, they just aren't getting any anymore that's good. So the small, medium jigger ballyhoos, or what we call kingfish ballyhoos, you can buy in any of your local shops. To me, that's a better bait. It never washes out. You can actually troll them up to about 8 miles an hour, and they'll swim perfect. And preferably, that's what I would use over the cigar minnows. That's what I've used probably the last about year, even inshore, and I've caught my biggest fish on the kingfish jigger ballyhoos on the Mack-A-Hoos.
But today you're going to show me a cigar minnow. Is that where we're headed?
Yes, sir. Sure.
All right, that's what I want to see, man, because I hear it's easy. You have my attention with Spanish mackerel. I want to add this to my arsenal when I'm fishing with my kids. Okay. And so, again, I'm imagining other people are curious too, and especially with it being an easy entry. So show me. Give us the cigar minnow on a Mack-A-Hoo.
Okay, basically, right here you just have the regular Mack-A-Hoo. It's unrigged.
Hey, hold that.
Right here.
I'm going to back you up. Hold up that Mack-A-Hoo and describe it to me. Tell me what I'm looking at, the parts of it.
All right. This is a 1.5 ounce Mack-A-Hoo. It has basically a lock-in mechanism in the back. If you can see where the hook is going to go, you're using a mustad. I'll show you for the people right here. It has to be this size. This exact hook, 3407 SSDT, because that hook is designed to fit in here. And what you do is it should sit just like this. What that does is it makes the bait dive, and it keeps it from spinning so it looks like it's alive. So that's the main key to it. And then you're using, when you're rigging it, you're going to use AFW, the camo, 60-pound, surf strand, pretty good stuff. And then you're going to use 50 to 80-pound Spro swivels. They're fairly small. And I cut them usually when we put them in packaging for the stores, Bass Pro Shops, all of them. We got 42 inches of it right here is what we start with. And then
let me pull in here for 1 second, because I want to make sure audience isn't getting confused. So okay. I can buy a Mack-A-Hoo already rigged, pull it out of the package, and attach it to a cigar minnow. So,
yes.
So I don't have to do any rigging other than just tying the rig to the mono coming off my reel. So
exactly.
What are we going to do first? You're going to show me how to tie up a cigar minnow, or are you going to show me how to just rig the Mack-A-Hoo for our own knowledge?
Well, I have whichever you would prefer. I can show them how to rig them from scratch, or I can just slide one on the head. But I think it would be easier if I just took one that was already kind of tied up, like I have it here.
Okay.
Everybody can see it, and then hopefully it won't get stuck to the table.
Before you slide it on, tell us what's going on there back there. The hooks. Okay. Tell me what I'm looking at.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on 1 second. It's stuck to the table. But you have your Mustad 4-aught 3407 SSDT, 2 extra strong. Then you have a 9626 VMC black nickel. They're 4X strong kingfish hooks. There are 2 of them. Okay. And basically, when my guys, when we're tying them, there's no swivel on this one, and I'm just going to use this for an example so everyone can see. You would just slide this in here, like if we're tying them, just drop it straight down, and then this thing right here is going to lock into here. I'll let everyone see from right here, the back. And now basically, if everyone can see this, here's the top part here. And I have this swivel. We're going to use what I call a figure-8 knot. And it will not give. A lot of people are afraid of figure-8 because they just think that it's not, capable. They like to crimp. But basically, you're just going to go in through it. You're going to come around. You're going to come back around. You come back under it. And then you're just going to pull it just like this and kind of cinch it. But what I like to do, I don't have in front of me, as you can see right here. Hold on a minute. It still has this. You would just take your pliers and pull this up, and it would cinch it completely. And we've literally put 200-pound sharks in the boat with just 60-pound wire. And then, like I said, the cigars right now are kind of scarce and hard to come by, but just the easy demonstration, this one right here, you can already see out of the box, it's not in the best shape. But you would take this lock-in hook right here. You're going to go straight in here in the mouth. And I like to try to do this to start with so people can see, like right in here. It's kind of locked in. Then you're just going to put it under the bottom of it. And you don't want it kind of tight, because if you have it real tight, it's going to rip the bottom out. And it's going to make the bait swim. And then you just basically are just putting it just like that in here. And basically this is what you have. Of course, it's going to have a skirt and it's going to look like this. But that's basically how it should look, on the spread. And if it's spinning, sometimes just change it up a little bit. Your hook might have got too far one side, or the Cigar Minnow might blow out. But if you use Mack-A-Hoo, you'll never have an issue. It won't blow out. But, basically that's how it should look. And whenever you're ready, I could probably show them how to rig it from start to finish.
Give me a little close-up of the hook and the body of the fish. I just want to get a better idea of your suggested amount of meat to sort of grab with one of the treble hooks.
Okay. Hold on one second. All right, you always want to make sure that it's locked in and it won't go left or right. That's the key, because that's what's going to keep it from spinning. And like I said, now I can even just touch this Cigar Minnow, and it's a fresh box, and it's already kind of tearing. It's just because the Cigar Minnows ain't fresh, and they're not getting them. But you would just want to put it in the bottom, leave a little slack here, and do the same thing here, just in there. And then it should basically look like this going through the water.
Okay. And so I understand the lock mechanism on the front hook, but you're saying sometimes even if you do everything right, you might get a little spin action. And in that case, you play with the two trebles, you just modify.
Yeah. You want to play with the trebles, just like somebody might having to tune a deep diver, Rapala, Yozuri, but it's just about placement. You want to keep a little slack in it here. But yeah, sometimes if it spins, pretty much the hooks might be off. Like a lot of people that don't know, they might do it like this. You see, if they hook it like this and then try it like this, it's going to spin because it's in the side. And when it's going, the water's going to catch it and it's just going to keep spinning. But the lock-in mechanism, if they hook the hooks in there right, they should just put it in the water and look while they're trolling, someone driving the boat, and just look in the water and watch, and it should just wag its tail, and it should swim perfect. But like I said, it should just look just like that.
Okay. And then that's the main thing to look out for, is if the bait's spinning, you're not going to get the effect. That's the main problem that we have to address.
Yeah, and one more. A lot of people, you want the hook coming upwards like this in it. A lot of people are going to put it to the side and lock it in that way, and it's not going to work. It's going to spin. You can actually still do it the bottom way, but still you're going to run into more problems with it spinning. And the only other thing that people, when they use them offshore, is you might have to watch your grass lines. If you're getting grass on it, it's going to affect your catch, and it's going to also make it spin. So you need to kind of check them. But if I hadn't caught a fish in 15 minutes, I'm usually pulling in. Well, we're pulling in the lines to make sure, everything's right. Because in prime king season, literally you should be able to go out in an hour and catch a 4-person limit if you're fishing in the right spots. And even beginners are starting to do it. So.
And that Mack-A-Hoo rig with a cigar minnow on it, I can expect to get how many fish out of it before I start looking at it like I might need a fresh rig?
Usually, I've fished some 3 or 4 trips. I've probably caught 10 king mackerel on it before you want to kind of rig it. But then you might have days where you catch a nice fish and they just swallow it. And then usually when that happens, pretty much you're going to have to open up another one, or you're going to have to cut it out or pull it out. But normally, even after they're all tore up, most people, especially charter guys, they're re-rigging them. They fish them until they catch literally hundreds of mackerel on them, and they don't have no paint left on the heads. They're re-rigging them and still catching fish with them. So as long as you keep the head and re-rig it, it'll last you forever.
All right, so you're setting up this segue good. So here's what I'd like, man. I'd like you to show me again, just so everyone's clear that they don't have to rig this. I want you to show me what a Mack-A-Hoo looks like out of the package, and then you're gonna, just for our knowledge, show us, the audience, how it got that way, how you tie a Mack-A-Hoo before it goes into the package. Because again, I just want to make sure my guys understand they don't have to twist wire. They can just pull it out of the package and hook it to a cigar minnow. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess one other thing I would like to show too is we do sell them unrigged, which would be just the Mack-A-Hoo itself and what you call the lock-in hook. But the lock-in hook is the main thing that they're going to want to have. And most guys like to rig them themselves. Normally, it'll look just like this. And pretty much what we have done is we have a cigar minnow here in the back, and it has a diagram. And it also shows the customer where they should put the hooks. So it kind of explains a little bit to people that's never done it before. And basically, you just pull it straight off. And it has like a 7 mil so you don't get poked. Right here, you're just going to grab it, pretty much unwind it out. And like Vaughn was saying earlier, I think less terminal tackle is better. You're just going to tie it straight to the swivel itself. And to me, that's pretty much what you have right there. And then, if they hold it in their hand and they turn it left or right, it's not going to move. So that's what makes the bait, swim correctly. But always just mono. I think less terminal tackle is always better. And then if I'm putting them back in my bag, we just wrap them right back up. Just put them in here. Usually just get some kind of binder. But they can even just, put them right back in the packaging if they didn't, wanted to reuse it. Just check your...
Different sizes, different colors?
Yes, we have about 50 colors. We have 1.5 ounce and 4 ounce. We actually have an 8 ounce right now in the making. And most stores stock at least 6 colors. We have stores that stock 20 colors. Bass Pro and Cabela's, they stock 8 colors. They have both the 1.5 and the 4 ounce, but most of your local shops, they're going to have about 10 different combos. And then you're going to have stores, they want their own colors that only they can sell. And a lot of times the customers will request that store. They'll spend a lot of money and they'll say, hey, can you get Big Nic to paint this color? And we'll do pretty much anything anyone wants. So pretty much whatever you want, we'll paint it.
All right, and for my Spanish mackerel tournament this year, 1.5 ounces the suggested weight, and give me 2 color suggestions.
Pink skirt, orange head, pearl mylar.
Say it one more time.
A pink head, a pink skirt, rubber skirt, orange head, pearl mylar.
All right, now show me how that Mack-A-Hoo comes to be in that package. I think you're going to show us how to rig one. Is that correct? How you rig one to put it in the package.
I did. I can rig another one if you want me to. Oh, no, I haven't. I'll do that then now. Okay, like I said before, we got 42-inch piece of the 7-strand, 60-pound camo. You're going to have 2 of these 96-26 VMC black nickel 4X strongs. Then you're going to have your lock-in hook, which is your must-add right here, 3407 SSDT. Okay. I'm going to try to put it up so the screen so everybody can see. You have a flat side here on the hook. You're going to just go straight through here. I'm going to try to move my big fingers out of the way and see how I have it pinched. You don't ever want to let it go. And you're going to take it and just hold it. And then just come around it 6 times and snell it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to keep my hand right here the whole time. I'm not letting it go.
Okay.
You're going to go all the way back here to the end of it, and you're going to go straight in, just like this. You're going to pull it all the way through. You're still not letting go yet. You're still holding it. So then when you do that, it should look just like this where it's snelled. Okay, now you're going to kind of just put it up like that. You're going to grab your second one. You're going to find the flat edge again. You're going to put it straight through here. And the people need to think about when they're rigging them, the Cigar Minnows they're using, about how big they are. My hands are a little bigger than normal, so if I were to say 4 fingers on my hands, it might be 3 hands from somebody else. So I would just say, for an example, right here, probably about 3 inches. Then you would hold it right here just like you did. You come back around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Gonna hold it. Don't let it go. If you let it go, it's gonna unravel and it's not gonna work. You go right back through the hole, pull it all the way through. You're gonna pull it tight, then you're gonna let it go, and you should have that a perfect snell.
Okay.
Okay, now you're gonna get your 3407 SSDT 4-aught. On the back of it, you're gonna slide it in just like this. Now I'll show you. When you slide it down, you're going to come down so it's on the back, kind of like what I call the fork of it. You can see here, and you're going to put your hand, your forefinger right here, hold it 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold it just like you did every other one. Right back through it. Just hold it tight. Pull it, kind of bend it so it's straight. Now basically you would take your Mack-A-Hoo right here. I'm going to take this hook that we used for example a while ago out.
Uh-huh.
And now you're just going to stick this wire. This is probably the hardest part, is getting the wire in the little hole on the front of the head. Especially when you have big hands. Bear with me. Okay, I said it was going to be easy. Of course, on camera, now I can't even get through to the holes.
You usually make about a couple of these a day?
Yes, and actually, let me get my snips. What has happened is this, it's kind of frayed a little bit. So,
man, I don't want excuses, man. I just want you to rig this thing.
Hey, yeah, me too. Trust me. I usually rig about 200 a day, so this is very frustrating that now it won't go in this little tiny hole. I almost feel like we have to do another whole podcast. So it slides in just like that. Now I got hooked in the foot. Okay, now we just slide it straight down. It's in there. I'm going to grab the swivel right here. I can find this hole a little bit better than I could the other one. Well, at least I said I could. That's why I have two sets of glasses here. Apparently, neither one of them work. Straight in here, your figure 8 knot. Come right back under. Gonna pull it, cinch it. You're gonna have a little piece of hang here, and then you're just gonna take your pieces and just snip it off. But normally, I would take my pliers and pull it extremely tight, and then
snip it.
Just snip it. You have just a tiny piece left, and then pretty much that's it right there. We put them in the packaging. You just go on in here through here just like that.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna buy a couple of Mack-A-Hoos, and then after I've caught a couple of fish on them, then I can re-rig them. I don't have to keep on buying Mack-A-Hoos.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to keep on buying them. Just buy, like we were saying, the 60-pound AFW camo surf strand. Then the Mustad 4-aught 3407 SSDTs. Make sure it is that model number because it has the bigger eye and it locks in. And then everyone knows the VMC Black Nickel 9626 is the model number. Most king fishermen have switched to these because they don't rust as much as some of the other brands. I won't mention any names, but the Black Nickel, when you're king fishing, it lasts longer.
Man, that was great. That was just what I was hoping we would accomplish tonight, man. I thank you guys. So this is where I say, any final thoughts? Anything else you want to get out there before we call this a episode in the books?
No, if anyone ever has any questions, I pretty much talk to all my customers in the store, email, on the phone. Most of them even have my personal number. If they ever have any issues, any problems, they're dissatisfied, shoot me an email. We'll have them product in the mail in 2 days.
Vaughn Hall, anything else?
Well, yeah, I think this right here is Big Nic. He's on to something. And if you follow him on social media, man, you'll see that it's gone worldwide. People are using his products, and they are working. I think it's perfect for those weekenders that are coming down. Go to your local tackle store, pick up some Mack-A-Hoos and some of his other products. You're not going to be disappointed. Get you different colors because they do, I believe they do affect certain times of the day, to certain waters, or whatever. I'm not a fish. I don't know, but we do have different colors. Try his products. They are probably the easiest thing that you can do to get your big Spanish mackerels in the boat.
All right, guys, let's call that a wrap. But let's go while the getting's good.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right, Gary. Good episode, man. A lot of information there.
I like hands-on.
A lot of rigging.
A little hard to follow the rigging, but you get the gist.
Yeah. And if anybody's listening, by the way, I'll put this in here. If anybody's listening and you're like, I did not follow that very well listening because there's a lot going on, go to our YouTube channel. YouTube.com, look up Fisherman's Post, or just go to fishermanspost.com, click on podcasts, and there's a watch feature there. And so you can kind of watch the whole walkthrough because it was visually easy to follow, but it's just he was doing a lot of stuff.
He was doing a lot of stuff.
So it's easier to watch than it is to listen to that episode. That part of the episode. So make sure you go check that out. But I guess my best takeaway is that's where we're at.
Billy's best takeaway.
Dude, my favorite, the best tip I think was moving those hooks around, tuning, even on a dead bait or whatever, like tuning that fish and then putting it in the water and testing it, because I was like, I guess I never even thought about if I was on someone's boat, just putting it overboard and having them hit the gas and make sure it swims right before I send it, how many ever yards back. So, I thought that was a pretty good tip to make sure everything's kind of lined up in alignment and just put those hooks in and test it, put them in, test it. So it's good. Tune those dead baits just like you can.
Yeah, man.
Top waters or whatever else you can.
The guys were good. They were fun.
Yeah, man. They were a good time.
They suck with email. We didn't talk about email, but they suck with email. But I tell you what, man.
You might want to fax these guys.
I want to go Spanish mackerel fishing with those dudes. I want to get on a boat with Vaughn Hall and Nic. And here's the game I'm going to play. I'm going to tell you, and maybe they're still listening. I want to get on a boat with those guys. I want to see just how much crap I can talk before Big Nic takes a swing at me.
Dude, you wouldn't come back from one of those swings.
I'm at a point in my life where I want to live dangerously. I don't want to jump out of an airplane with a parachute. I want to get on a boat with Big Nic and Von Hall, run my mouth until finally someone takes a swing at me.
You just turned your face into hamburger meat. That's what it would probably look like. Oh, my gosh. Well, that is a wrap for this episode, Gary. And for everybody listening and watching, thank you guys so much for the support. Go check out Marine Warehouse Center. Go check out Academy. We appreciate those guys as being sponsors. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah, Marine Warehouse, whether it's parts, whether it's service, whether it's sales, helping you sell your boat or find the right boat. Marine Warehouse, a big part of our fishing and boating community. Check them out.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time, Gary.
Next time.